It is Tuesday, the Deep Dive Tour, and in fact, the final day of the Walterooski Deep Dive Tour, which means you'll notice that we are doing Tool's 10,000 Days, which also indicates that along with all of the other artists on that particular list, I'm going to be doing all of the music. But before we hop into Tool's 10,000 Days, I had a little bit of an inclination, as in the chaotic old boar, our beloved moderator and man from down under, told me I needed to listen to A Perfect Circle in the song Judith. Now, that particular thing comes from this message in our moderator group chat. I wouldn't normally do this, but I very highly, all caps, recommend that Walt views A Perfect Circle Judith before diving into 10,000 Days. Important context is that Judith is Maynard being angry at her God and congregation for doing this to his mother despite her strong faith. Wings for Marie and 10,000 Days Wings Part 2 is a sort of eulogy and how he is at peace with her faith now. There was at least 10 years between Judith and 10,000 Days and shows the growth from anger to acceptance. Many Tool fans will tell you the same, and if I didn't at least try to get you to do this, they would be wondering why it wasn't done before 10,000 Days. So can I get a whole bunch of W's in the chat for our homie Chaotic Old Boar? And can I get a whole bunch of W's in the chat for the last day of this particular album tour? Now, it seems like appropriate enough. I am familiar with the fact that Maynard had another band or two, potentially. Pussifer, I think you guys is the other one I'm told. Now, look, this is kind of the prequel, as far as I can tell. Maybe people will disagree to this, or it offers at least some context, which is why this is the opener of the stream. Let me know. This is a music discovery stream, so I need you to tell me first and foremost, have you heard this song before, or are you raw dogging a first listen with me? One or the other. Let me know. I'm going to hit the play button on this thing, but before I do, it is very important to me that you know that you are awesome, that you are valuable, that you are important, that you matter, that you are deserving of love, and that I am abundantly grateful for even a moment of your time. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. It goes a long way to help me out. And if you really like what you see, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, or join us on Kick or Twitch. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Arizona time, and I know I speak for this entirely wonderful community when I say we would absolutely love to have you by. By the way, Mechanic Dan 11, welcome to the Rooskies, homie. Rooskies, make our new friend feel at home. Guys, again, first timers and raw doggers, identify yourselves. Without further ado, A Perfect Circle, which is, I guess, actually, this is certainly the first song I'll ever listen to by A Perfect Circle. So, a first time for this band and this song for me. Here we go. Ooh. Not nearly as metally as I thought like A Perfect Circle would have sounded.
You're such an inspiration for the ways that I will never ever choose to be. So many ways for me to show you how your Savior has abandoned you. Your Lord, your Christ, even that you had him. Still you pray, never stray, never thought to question why. It's not like you killed someone.
Bro. I am really. This is gonna sound crazy because I know I've been, minimally vocal about my faith, and my own struggles with it, right? Like I know I have talked tremendously, at least in certainly behind the scenes, but like I've talked on stream and in my videos about like my own battles and struggles and wrestling with my faith. And for, you know, I'd say until 2 years ago, I wanted nothing to do with it. I had completely walked away from my upbringing in faith. And I'm not here to preach and, think what you will of me for having one. But I can remember very specifically feeling this way. I can remember very specifically feeling like I was very angry at the idea of God or God in general, to the point that I didn't want to believe in him because it just made my life easier, made my internal world system easier. And, at the end of the day, I can remember having the realization, like, if God isn't real, who am I so angry with? It was a really confusing thing, and I commented in my last Tool album reaction to Lateralis that I very much related to Maynard. It was lyricism that made sense to me because as a kid that came from a really strict religious upbringing, I didn't really quite know how to make sense of the world without it. And I didn't quite know how to intellectualize a lot of those things. And I feel like, even now I can acknowledge that I don't still necessarily know, but I also know it's not, what I was taught growing up. Like my faith is between me and my creator, me and my God. And it's not something I'm ever going to force upon anybody. And again, for people to take me less seriously because I have it, I get it. I'm never going to beat anybody in the head with the Bible, and because I know what that's like. I would rather live my faith through my lifestyle and my actions and my let my countenance shine my faith than force it upon anybody. But I can absolutely say, as a practitioner of that faith, in my own way, in my own relationship, these are totally fair comments, and it's totally fair to be angry. I can remember very much watching my grandma die of dementia, being in the room when she died, and being so upset and being so mad. Like, I just watched a woman wither away, and that woman loved God more than anybody else I had ever known. You know what I mean? And she meant it. Like, she lived her life in a way that even if you didn't believe in God, you knew she did, and you knew she cared, and she never went out of her, but again, that's just my own personal experience. For this to be the way I can't, dude, it hits me in a way that I don't know, unless if you didn't grow up with the religious upbringing and come to terms with your own faith, either for or against, you may not understand it in the same level. Yeah, I mean, and if you are a person that just has a faith that blindly accepts it without intellectualizing the grander scheme, it's pretty nuts. It's something that I can relate to this, even if this goes against the things I might believe. I can understand the anger, and I think it's totally fair and justified. And further than that, I think God probably does just as well. The one I believe in, at any rate. This music is also ripping. I've got such a hard-on for this slide on this Les Paul. Can you guys tell me, is that an LTD or a Les Paul? The genre makes me think it's a Gibson. It's a custom too. Hair tie. Can we all W's for this lady? Who's this lady? Who? That was the most amazing moment. She made the hair tie a part of the man. Okay. She made it in time too. Oh. The time change. Not cool with the feet shot. I wrestle with the way I portray my faith on stream, right? And the way I portray it publicly, because I don't want people to feel alienated. I don't want people to feel like preached at or anything, because I know what that's like. And I've spent a good chunk of my life avoiding that. When I decided to that I did have my faith after all, it was not at some church where I went up to the front of some place and let some person touch me and pray for me, and I cried at an altar. I was alone in my living room. Okay, like, I'm not going to go and give you my story, but I can remember very, very, very much having very, very, very specifically those feelings. And especially having listened to Lateralis, I don't know that I ever thought I would relate to Maynard. This is one of those things where I see it as a fair. You could choose to go either way. You could choose to believe, you could choose to disbelieve, and both of them are totally fair. Without question. Both of those have reasonable and justifiable decisions. I've decided for myself how I feel, and to see him wrestling with this in such good, so articulate, about that sound, that's a scary question to ask. Where was your Christ? Where was your God? And I've asked it many times myself, especially when I lost my grandma, who very, very, very much believed in that Christ, and believed in that God. Uh, I don't know, and again, I'm telling you about this from my own perspective, but I the harmonies, the way the music really does kind of magnify how those feelings sound like in a person's head who grew up with this kind of background. It's very clear to me that he and I grew up in a similar upbringing. It's very, very, very clear to me that the person that wrote that song understands what my life was growing up. And in that, I just I don't know another way to put it. I don't know another way to put it. Um, I don't. I'm not here to tell anybody how to believe, how to feel, and honestly, unless anybody asks me specifically in a place that is not, you know, outside of an interpersonal context, I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm just going to share love, right? But I tell everybody in every single one of my videos, since I've decided what my faith is, to consider the birds. And maybe this ruins it for you, but Matthew 6:26. Consider the birds of the air. They neither reap or sow or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not so much more valuable than they are? That's where that comes from. And again, not to take out some of the mystery behind why I say it, but it feels particularly relevant in this context to me. Whether you believe or not, I still see you as valuable. And whether you believe or not, I think if you grew up with a belief system like this, can understand what this is like. This is one of the most relatable songs I've ever heard, even with it coming from such a clear and gnarly place of anger and yeah. And if I'm just being honest with you guys, part of me is actually very nervous for sharing what I've shared in this video. I'm not gonna lie. And I hope you guys take it from the heart it's coming from, and not the heart that you're afraid it might be coming from. Anyways, I really, I don't know that if I how am I trying to say this? If I hadn't heard this song, I don't know that I would feel as related to Maynard prior. I don't know that there was always an element of creepy that probably would have kept me from listening to music like this, but I mean, that one hit me between the eyes, dude. I don't know another way to say it. Anyways, guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. Continue to be the best, and until I see you next, be introspective and consider the birds. Goodbye.